How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my week 6 recap video. Just dive into all the games, break down my thoughts. This is my 6th video of this type, so hopefully you guys know the gist of it by now. So we'll just jump straight in here. So the first game was Niners Seahawks Thursday night game. This was a pretty good game. Niners were pretty much dominating the game. Seahawks had a good opening drive. Looked like they were able to score. Geno threw a pick, and the Niners pretty much dominated from that point on. They were up, let's see, they were up 16-3 at half. They were up 16 nothing. Seahawks got a field goal as time expired at the end of the first half. And I think the Niners went right down the field and scored a touchdown on their opening drive. I want to say the third. Then the Seahawks got that kickoff return, and it looks like the Niners are going to blow another game. Seahawks ended up getting another touchdown. They cut it to one score, but the Niners ended up holding on. Their defense came up clutch. They picked Geno off. That was a big drive for them. Yeah, Niners scored, and it was pretty much ball game from there. Seahawks ended up making a one-score game with just under 2 minutes left, and the Niners they ended up running out the clock. They scored a touchdown, and Seahawks ended up stalling out on the last drive there. Got completely screwed over by Jordan Mason getting hurt. I needed him to get his over for rushing yards. Easily would have gotten it, and he got hurt, and my sports book didn't void it. So got completely screwed over. Another Thursday game, I get completely screwed over with my parlay. So that was annoying. But yeah, the Niners definitely outplayed the Seahawks in this game. They deserved this one. Seahawks had pretty much nothing until that. They had a good drive, start the game, good drive to end the half, and besides that, they were really struggling until they got that kickoff return. Then they started getting the offense going a little bit. But yeah, the Niners definitely outplayed the Seahawks. Uh, 9 penalties to the Seahawks. That's not too great. Niners outplayed them. Purdy played a pretty solid game. Yeah, the Niners had to rotate all their backup running, but well, Mason is the backup, but had to even their third string guys basically they had to rotate them. Garendo had a really good game. He had a big run late, could have scored, but I don't know if he slid down or he tripped up. He said he slid down, so I guess I'll just believe him that he slid down. But even doing so, the Seahawks could have forced a field goal attempt, so he should have just punched it in. They ended up getting it in the end zone anyway, but so it didn't really matter too much. But yeah. So Geno played not a great game, kind of struggled again. Seahawks kind of looked like the solid but not great team we kind of expected them as they entered the year. 3 wins in a row to start the year, and then they've lost 3 in a row. So they're 3-3. I think they'll be fine. They're still a good team. They're a sleeper team. They'll get it back together. But they've been in a bit of a slump. Niners look like they're trending in the right direction. They play the Chiefs next week, so that'll be or this week, I guess. So that'll be a good game. Pretty good Thursday game there. Niners leading the division, just like most of us probably predicted. Second London game, Jags and Bears. So I was kind of tempted to pick the Jags in this game. Obviously, happy I didn't. They started out good. They forced a 3-and-out for the Bears, went right down the field, and then Gabe Davis got hit right in the hand, dropped a touchdown. I was like, that first drive, I was thinking, I'm like, my God, like, why did I not pick the Jags to win this game? And thankfully, the Bears offense picked it up. They looked really good after like the first 2 drives. They went 3-and-out, I think. But after that, they looked really good. Caleb Williams, 4 touchdowns. Really good day for him. He did have kind of a bad pick, though, and he had a bad play where he bounced a pass off his lineman's helmet. That's getting memed everywhere I saw. Um, Trevor Lawrence, he had like multiple touchdowns drops. I think Jags dropped 4 touchdowns, I want to say. That was bad. They pretty much had no run game. The Jags did. Um, yeah, Tank Bigsby had a big game against the Colts and really do too much. Travis Etienne really struggled. He got hurt. Not pretty much no run game. Evan Ingram was back. He had a good game for the Jags, so at least they got that going for him. But yeah, Caleb Williams and the offense look good. They look good the past couple weeks. DeAndre Swift's really been getting it going. Cole Kmet on my bench, of course, scores 2 touchdowns, gets 5 catches, 70 yards. I ended up winning in that league. I have him anyway, so it didn't really matter too much. But Keenan Allen had a good game too. Started him in one of my leagues. Um, yeah, this was. I mean, the Bears definitely deserved this game. They outplayed the Jags. Did not look like that early. It looks like the Jags were in a good position to win the game early. Bears defense is just absolutely insane this year. Their offense is getting it going. They can be a really dangerous team. My team plays the Jags this week in London, so can't wait for the 1-5 battle at 9:30 in the morning. That'll be good. Yeah, pretty. I mean, time sessions almost dead even. A lot of these stats are really close here, but the Bears definitely outplayed the Jags. They deserve to win this game. Excuse me, choking here. If the Jags lose to us in London this week, I think once they land back in the U.S., Doug Peterson will be on the unemployment line. Really, just 1-5 for the Jags. Just they played better, but they need to be able to win games like this. Just not a good season for the Jags, obviously. Bears trending in the right direction though. Bucks Saints. So the game started out as kind of I expected. The Bucks were up 17-0. The Saints had nothing. And the second quarter of this game was just one of the strangest 15 minutes of football I've ever seen. The Saints scored 27 points in the second quarter, and they were leading by 3 at halftime. And their offense is like not really doing too much either. Spencer Rattler looked okay in this game. Just looking at the stats, he didn't play too great, but I think he did fine. I didn't have super high expectations for him. The Bucks defense played pretty good outside of that weird second quarter. Mayfield threw 3 picks in the second quarter. And that was obviously one of them was they returned to like the 10. The Saints ended up getting the touchdown. Rashid Shaheed got a punt return touchdown. Just a really weird quarter. The Bucks were 3 turnovers from Mayfield, but the Bucks offense in this game was just moving the ball at will. They put up 51. I think they were 6 shy of 600. Yeah, they were 6 yards shy of 600 yards of offense. Where was this offense coaching in Tom Brady's last year with Byron Leftwich? That's what I would love to know. Liam Cohen had just got that offense balling with like the one exception of the Denver game. Saints have just like fell off a cliff since they started off 2-0. I mean, their defense, they got enough talent, and their defense has played pretty well this year, kind of outside of last week against the Chiefs, and then obviously this game they played horrible. The Bucks moved the ball up and down the field pretty much the entire game, except those 3 picks by Mayfield. And one of them was tipped, so that wasn't really too much on Baker. The other one, I forget who picked Mayfield off, but he undercut Mike Evans. And what was the third one? I kind of forget the third one off the top of my head, but the Bucks definitely outplayed them. This obviously the score suggests that alone, but they certainly deserve to win this game. The only thing they didn't do better was they committed more penalties. Yeah, but the Saints they have just spiraled out of control since starting off 2-0. They play Denver tomorrow night. That'll be, I mean, they definitely can win that game, but that's going to be, I assume, a very low scoring game. After 2 Thursday games in a row, definitely a defensive battle tomorrow night. Not that defense battles aren't good, but obviously most people prefer watching shootouts. Mayfield has looked really good. He's probably put himself in MVP. Even with the 3 picks, he had a pretty good game. Sean Tucker went off. Bucky Irving had an insane run in this game. He went off too. Saints, they had a really bad play. Mayfield basically checked it down to Godwin. He went like half the field and scored a touchdown. Yeah. Kamara didn't really get too much going in the run game. He had a touchdown. I think that was I want to say that was after one of Mayfield's picks. He ended up getting punched in. It was like 2nd and goal, I think. Yeah, just not. I mean, Todd Bowles after that second quarter, because the whole game he pretty much blitzed the hell out of Spencer Rattler, kind of as I thought he would, and that caused a lot of issues. But yeah, this was pretty. I mean, I enjoyed this game. I like the Bucks anyway, so I enjoyed them. I like watching them. I like their scheme, both offense and defense. So yeah, this is a good game. Uh, Bucks are definitely heading in the right direction. Them and the Falcons look like they're going to be battling all year for the division lead. Saints just I don't know what the hell has happened after the first 2 weeks. I mean, I didn't expect them to score 40 something every week, but they did the first 2 weeks. But I expected their offense to be much better than it has, and certainly their defense should not be allowing 51 points. That was just bad. Commanders Ravens. By the way, actually, I had a perfect week in picks. I picked all the winners correctly except Colts and Titans. I even got the score right for the Bills Jets game. I predicted 23-20 Jets, I mean Bills. So 43 is a total point type. I even got that spot on. I probably shouldn't have because of the missed kicks and stuff, but had the Titans been able to hold on to that game, I would have had a literal perfect week of picks. But getting to this game, so kind of went as I expected. It was back and forth early, but the Ravens, I didn't really have too much concern they were going to lose. To me, it kind of felt like they were outplaying the Commanders pretty much the whole game. Pretty good. They kind of contained Derrick Henry well for the most part. He had one big run late on a halfback toss that helped them seal the game. You see. Okay, well, I guess just looking at the stats, you wouldn't know. He had a couple good runs, but for a good part of the game, it felt like they were containing Derrick Henry pretty well. Lamar had a really good day passing. His pick wasn't really his fault. It was tipped by, I think, Mark Andrews, if I remember right. Jane Daniels had a pretty good game. I thought I was a little nervous the Ravens going to blow it late. It was fourth and goal. They were down 2 scores, and they ended up getting a touchdown to McLaurin. I'm like, oh my God, please, Ravens, hold on. They were in my parlay, which I finally ended up hitting one of my Sunday parlays. Thank God, I played my first one and it's like week friggin' one, I think. So thank God. Ended up losing it anyway, so I got screwed over on multiple other parlays, but whatever. Zach Ertz has been pretty good this season. Their leading receiver on the day. Commanders had pretty much no run game, no Brian Robinson. Jane Daniels is your leading rusher, your quarterback. That's usually a problem. That's happened multiple times this season already. Just looking at the stats here, yeah, the Ravens definitely outplayed the Commanders. I think they certainly deserved this game. Commanders kept it close, definitely was winnable for them, but Ravens certainly deserved this game. They outplayed them. Let's look at the stats here. Ravens outplayed them in pretty much every category. I guess fourth down efficiency, they didn't go for one, but the Commanders got theirs. That was the McLaurin touchdown. Yeah, Ravens outplayed them. They took care of business. Commanders were kind of overdue for a loss, so they didn't play bad. I mean, obviously the Ravens are really good, but I think the Commanders are definitely legit. They were right there with the Ravens, even though they got outplayed. Made it, a reasonable game. Definitely an interesting game. So they'll be a fun team to watch, interesting team to watch. They definitely could steal their division because, well, actually, even the Giants, despite not having, the Giants are what, 2-4 now. Yeah, 2-4. So even the Giants at 2-4 are a pretty good team. So the Cowboys obviously just got the absolute doors blown off them. They're struggling. They're 500. Eagles are 3-2, but they're not playing too great either. So the Command, I think they're in the lead right now in the division. So the Commanders definitely concealed their division. That'll be interesting. Ravens getting hot, 4 wins in a row. We kind of expect this in the Ravens. They're a regular season juggernaut. So that was a pretty good game to watch. Glad the Ravens ended up holding on. So my parlay and my pick was correct. Cardinals, Packers. So I was really confident with Packers in this game. I didn't think they were going to win well, they were up 24-0 at one point. The Cardinals had like barely any first downs. And then trying to remember exactly what happened. Something happened. The Cardinal, they got a touchdown. I'm trying to remember how. Um, forget exactly how they got the touchdown, but I think it was off like some turnover, I want to say, by the Packers. Some like spark play that they end up getting. And then Love ended up throwing a pick. Wasn't really his fault. His receiver ended up falling down. I forget exactly who. Maybe Wicks, I want to say. And the Cardinals ended up getting a field goal, so it was 24-14. I mean 24-10 at halftime. And then the Cardinals ended up getting a field goal to start the third, I think. So it was 24-13. And then the Packers ended up just holding on. They got a touchdown, which Love, it was like an all-out blitz. Love heaved it up, and I forget who the DB was, the Cardinals, but he just played it very poorly. And Dobbs ended up probably could have gotten a pick out of it. He played it better, which would have kept the Cardinals right in the game and would have had all the momentum. And Dobbs ended up getting a touchdown. And then the Cardinals pretty much had nothing after that. James Conner had a fumble. Packers defense has been balling out this year. They played really good in this game. Love looked pretty good. Again, the pick wasn't really his fault. Just looking at the stats here, Packers definitely outplayed them, deserved this game. I mean, 13 penalties for 100 yards. Cardinals, that's not too great. Cardinals been really weird. They had the capability of being a good team, but they just have games like this where they just play bad. Well, the Rams game, they looked like one of the best team in the league probably. And then like this game, they look bad. The Commanders, they look bad. The Bills, they look good. So it's like they very hot and cold teams for so far for the Cardinals this year. Packers get definitely in the right direction. The AFC or the NFC North is well, I mean the AFC North is pretty good too right now. Mainly just the Ravens and the Steelers, but the Bengals are getting, I think, gonna go on a run, hopefully at least. And then the Browns, they're just Jesus. They get too many issues. But the NFC North is stacked. Like the stat is going around is each team is like at least 2 games above 500 since like the first time since like 2003 or something like that. So that's absolutely insane. Obviously, that division is going to probably come right down to the wire, week 18 most likely. So yeah, Packers, good win for them. You know, a sneaky team like the Cardinals could have been a trap game, but Matt LaFleur, the Packers take care of business. Love looked good. Cardinals kind of struggled offensively, ended up picking up as the game went on, but just not enough. Packers took care of business in this one. Really good team win for the Packers. So this is my one game I got wrong. So this game went as I expected, pretty much low scoring, kind of defensive game. Colts went right down. Well, I thought Richardson was going to play, and then when I saw Flacco was playing, I'm like, well, I feel a little less confident with the Flacco in there that the Titans can win. I'm like, whatever, I'll just stick with the Titans. And they went right down the field and scored the Colts, and the Titans I think went 3-and-out. I'm like, oh my god, like come on Titans. And then Flacco ended up throwing a pick. Titans scored. It was 10-10 at half. Then the Titans in the third quarter was 3rd and 19, I think, and they just ran a draw. They were at like the 20-yard line. They just ran a draw somewhere around the 20-yard line, I think, just to get a couple of extra yards, make the field goal kick easier. And Tony Pollard ended up bursting through and getting a touchdown. So that was just absolutely awful from the Colts. I mean, 3rd and 19, the Colts know that they're probably going to do a conservative play just to get some extra yardage for Nick Folk in the field goal, but just absolutely, I don't know what the hell happened on that play for the Colts defense, but that was unacceptable. But then the Colts rattled off 10 straight points after that. It was like 3rd and 9, I want to say, 3rd and 7, something like that. And the Titans into blitz, and Flacco just heaved the ball up one-on-one coverage, and who the hell was it? Pittman, I want to say, caught it. Either him or Downs. Okay, well, they both caught a touchdown, so it's one of the two. But one of these two caught a touchdown on like 3rd and 7. And that was like, I'm like, oh my God, yep, Titans, they just probably lost this game. After that, the Titans defense forced a couple stops. Their offense just wasn't able to get it done. Flacco also missed, I want to say it was downs down the sideline for probably would have been a touchdown or would have greatly helped the Colts ended up sealing the game, but he missed them, gave the Titans chance. Titans just weren't able to capitalize. A lot of talk on the Titans offensive game plan. Will Levis, I think he had 70 something passing or 95 passing yards. Calvin Ridley went off about how he wants to be more involved. He didn't even have a single catch. He had like a carry on a kind of a trick play they ran for him. But yeah, besides that, yeah, he had one rush or one carry for 9 yards. They like flipped it behind him, kind of on a trick play, a sweep play. So yeah, a lot of talk on that. I kind of predicted that the Titans were going to focus on the run more, probably the rest of the season. They definitely did that in this game. So, but yeah, I mean, Will Levis also had a bad turnover. They're down three. Titans got like a first down or two, and late in the fourth, and Levis ended up throwing a bad pick. He also ended up taking out like a ball boy's like ACL. It looked like the guy to get parted off. So Will Levis, that's on a generational run. That's been a big meme circulating around. But yeah, the Colts are a gritty team. They're definitely gonna probably be contending for the playoffs. They'll My guess is they'll probably finish around 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, somewhere like that. Probably similar to last year. Titans will be a gritty team the rest of the year, but I think they'll probably finish around 5-12-ish. I feel pretty comfortable with that win range. Both these teams. Looking at the stats here, it's pretty even. Passing yards, obviously, Colts almost at 100 more, but rushing yards, Titans had a good amount more. Pretty even with all these stats. This was definitely an evenly matched game. Obviously, only a 3-point game. I kind of had a gut feeling the Colts are going to win this one, but I went with the Titans. Looked like they had it. Oh, yeah. 11 penalties for 113 yards. That also cost the Titans bad, too. Actually, they had a late one that really killed them, but this is an entertaining game. Titans, oh boy, 1-4, but they definitely, I mean, they're not a great team, but they very easily could have a much better record. A couple of plays went their way. Oh boy. So, my team. I did not expect us to win this game. Our defense had our worst performance of the year. We allowed the most points in 2017. Texans pretty much went up and down the field on us. They were up 14-0. Then our defense kind of clamped down for a bit. Our offense had pretty much nothing going. May kind of had a bad pick, his first pick. Second one wasn't really his fault. It was a tip screen, not really on Drake May. But his first pick was overthrown. I'm like, oh boy, that's not looking too great. By the way, I'm hopefully gonna try to find time to make like a film breakdown video of Drake May, his debut. So I guess I'll look more in depth at that interception. But Drake May after that, yeah, 14-0. We were at like our own like 10 or 20 yard line with a very limited time. I want to say like a minute left in the first half, and May ended up getting us to like the 50 to an absolute bomb to Keyshawn Boutte or Booty, however the hell he pronounces it. That was both their first pro touchdowns. Absolute bomb by May. It was the longest air yard pass by a Patriots quarterback in 3 years, which is absolutely insane. May in this game threw 3 touchdowns. It's more than Brissett in 4 games. Brissett only had 2 passing touchdowns in 4 games. May, yeah, he set a couple pretty notable stats and records. Rookie QBs struggled to start the year, and like he took Caleb Williams 3 games to get his first touchdown pass. Took Jane Daniels 3 games to get his first touchdown pass, and Drake May throws 3 in his first start. So he probably could have thrown one against the Jets too, but he got sacked at the end of the game. They just let the clock run out instead of taking a timeout. I don't blame them, but probably could have had a good chance of throwing one if they took the timeout, tried to score there, but obviously the game was over. Just would have made it a bit more respectable, but whatever. I don't blame us for not taking that timeout. Offensive line was, oh boy. Will Anderson Jr., I think, had 3 sacks alone. Let's see here. Um, yeah, he had 3 sacks, Will Anderson Jr. So that was a problem for us. Um, what else? What else? What else? Offensive line kind of showed in this one. They did have like the best pass protecting grade of the season I saw. So at least that's good. What else about this game? Pretty much a no run game. Again, Drake May was their leading rusher. He had a couple of nice passes. He had a bootleg where the Texans, like before Drake May could even fake the handoff on the play action pass, he almost got sacked. That's how terrible our offensive line has been. May had a couple improvised scrambles. He looked pretty good, but obviously 13 carries for 19 yards for Gibson's bad. We need Stevenson back. You know, I like Gibson. Pop Douglas has been getting more involved. That's a positive for us. Obviously, Butte had that big touchdown. Hunter Henry had a nice touchdown grab. That was a nice play action pass design we had. Austin Hooper had a fumble that kind of killed us. Our defense gave us some chances to make it interesting, but they definitely did not play nearly as well enough. Of course, our offense, probably our best offense game of the year, even though we scored more points against. Did we score? I think we only scored 20 against Seattle, actually. But even so, I feel like our offense is better in this game, more consistently better than the Seattle game. So, of course, I guess our best offensive outing, maybe second best offensive outing. Our defense puts up our worst performance of the season. Even though Stroud just went the stat line, he didn't, not a fantastic game. He had 3 touchdowns, so obviously that's good. Oh yeah, Joe Mixon absolutely killed us. Even Dameon Pierce had a run late that absolutely killed us. So yeah, that was not good. Not good. Trying to anything else from this game. Oh yeah, also Ben Brown played pretty good at center. So that's good at least. We just cut Nick Leverett. Ben Brown played pretty good at center. Obviously, the stats here, Texans outplayed us in pretty much everything. They certainly deserved to win this game. But we did make it interesting. We cut it to 2 scores, then Texans made it 3, and then we cut it to 2 scores again, and then Texans ended up getting a run. So it was a bit interesting for a while. Just like I was talking about the end of the Jets game, probably could have had a good chance at scoring at the end of the game, but we just let the time run out. Obviously, it wouldn't have mattered, but it would have made it more respectable. Maybe give us a bit more momentum heading into next week. But yeah, May looked good. Really happy with May's performance. Definitely, I think he's going to develop. Obviously, as the year goes on, I think that's the best way for a young quarterback to develop is obviously play him. Simple as that. And he looked pretty good in this one. Obviously, Texans defense is really good this year. They've they made Josh Allen go 9 of 30. Caleb Williams playing a lot better now. Played horrible against them, and I know that was in the Bears' offense really struggling, but still, Texans defense playing really well this season. Richardson didn't play great against them week 1. He had a couple big passes that kind of inflated his stat line. But I think only had like 9 completions that game in total. Texans defense kind of been balling all year, and Drake May played really well against them with our terrible offense line. So that's definitely a good sign for us. Happy with that. Didn't expect us to win, but I'm happy with Drake May's performance, and I'm optimistic about him. Hopefully, we can beat the 1-5 Jags. Sure, they probably should win. They're better than us, but probably going to pick us to beat the Jags. Got to think about it a bit more though. So this was an interesting game. I almost parlayed the Eagles, but the Browns, as bad as they've been, I usually don't bet against them because they have enough talent to be a trap team where they can just pull it together at any point in the year, pretty much. And it was closer. The Browns' defense has been pretty good this year. Not as good as last year, obviously. They're kind of in the middle of the pack with most of the major statistical rankings. And it was 0-0. Then the Eagles both teams put up 10 in the third. Browns offense really struggled again. They have pretty good opening drives, and they struggle after that. So yeah, Eagles were up 10-0. AJ Brown had a really good game. He had touchdown catch, then he had the game sealing catch. So yes, 10-3. Brown or the Eagles, they hit a season. It was second and one. Saquon had a bunch of room in front of him. End of the half there, and he ended up getting out of bounds, but somehow did not get the first down, even though he had plenty of room in front of him. Then the Browns sacked Hurts on the next play. They went for the field goal, and they blocked it and returned it. So that was, I'm like, oh my God, the Browns actually might steal this. It was 10-10. Browns got the ball to start third. They had a nice opening drive, start second half. And then they ran a jet sweep on 3rd and 1, which I hate running outside zone plays on short yardage situations like tosses, pitches, and outside zones simply because, especially tosses, because you're throwing the ball back multiple yards behind the line of scrimmage and you only need a yard or two or so, and you're just assuming your offensive linemen, receivers, and tight ends or whoever are going to maintain their blocks. And all it takes is one guy to beat their blocking assignment, and your running back or receiver, whoever has the ball, is going to have to make an improvised play to keep it alive. You throw the ball backwards multiple yards, and you only need a yard or two. And it's just a lot of risk for me. I hate when teams do that. Like the Saints Chiefs game, the Saints had a nice opening drive to start the game, as bad as their offense played for the most part, and as bad as they played for the most part. It was like 3rd and 1, and they ran a toss, and the play was blown up, and they ended up picking up, but Kamara had to really pull on out of his ass and improvise. It ran to the other side of the line. So that's a good example. 3rd and 1, just run the ball up the middle. Even if you don't get it, just you can run another play. So that was, and then they missed the field goal because they lost yardage on it, the jet sweep they ran. But even so, the Browns defense kept them close. It was a 7-point game. It was 2013 late. Browns ended up having a nice drive. Watson went like 11 of 11 in the second half, so at least I guess he played a little bit better. They had a nice drive. Looks like they were about to tie the game, and they ended up stalling out. I think they had a penalty, and they had to kick the field goal, and then the Eagles ended up icing the drive. Hurts went to A.J. Brown late. So yeah, that Hurts finally didn't turn the ball over. Neither did Watson somehow. Amari Cooper just got traded to the Bills, but he actually had a pretty okay game in this one. The Eagles definitely kind of played the Browns, I think, for the most part, at least to me. The stats suggest that too. The Browns, 7 penalties, 55 yards in a close game like this, defensive game, that hurts. Eagles, 5 for 40. That's not great, but not the worst either. Pierre Strong had he had a couple nice catches in this game, if I'm trying to remember right. Yeah, 2 for 35. Um, yeah, just not much in the run game from the Browns, though. Saquon didn't really have a fantastic day, only 18 for 47. Hurts had a lot of carries, only 33 rush yards. A.J. Brown, obviously, big game. Devontae Smith. So if these guys went out, I think we're out. Browns, I definitely think, win this game. But yeah, obviously, clutch for these guys to be back. Big games for both of them. Yeah, and then Nick Sirianni making a lot of headlines. He's chirping at Eagles fans. Got frowned upon by the organization. A report came out. He's getting a lot of heat. I definitely think he'll be fired at the end of the year. Can't wait. Cannot stand him. He's such an arrogant ass that needs to be humbled. So hopefully he gets fired. That'd be nice. But not a great win. I mean, obviously a win's a win, but kind of an ugly win for the Eagles. Coming off a bye too. So not coming off a bye, you kind of expected more decisive win against a struggling team, but at least they got the win. They got to clean some things up, though. They have not played fantastic football this year. Browns just heading the wrong direction, obviously. And trading Cooper, that's not a great sign if they still want to win. It looks like they're just kind of, accepting that they're a shitty team this year, and Watson's just terrible. Chargers Broncos. So this game kind of went as I expected to. Low scoring game. The Chargers were up 23 to nothing. Their offense was kind of moving up down the field the first half, but the Broncos defense stiffened up in the second half. They held the Chargers to only 3 points. Herbert had a pretty good game. Dobbins went off. He hit almost 100 yards. He had a touchdown. Chargers hit the passing game going early. Their defense balled out. Broncos offense has really not been good at all this year for the most part. And, if they were shut out through 3 quarters, the Chargers defense has been super underrated this season. One of the top defenses in the league. Yeah, Broncos made a late push in this game. They scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. It looks like the Chargers almost fumbled too late that they called. I think it was Dobbins down. That would have been a game changer. But yeah, Broncos, they scored a touchdown, it was 23-7. Then they scored another touchdown. And it looks like they ran a pop pass. So it looks like they were going to get the 2-point version. The Chargers defense stopped them. Broncos win the game. With like a minute left, they got in the field range, kicked the field goal, and they almost got the onside. There's offsetting penalties, I think, and they redid it, and it went out of bounds. Chargers just nailed it out. But Chargers defense balled out this game. Broncos defense stiffened up as the game went on. Kind of the low scoring game I expected. Probably most people expected. Pretty close with all the stats here. Chargers kind of killed them in time of possession. That was a big difference in this game. There was kind of a weird thing when Jim Harbaugh had like a medical thing, something with like his heart was like beating at a faster rhythm, something like that happened to him before. He has to be in like a heart monitor and like take medication for it. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, not too much to say about this game. Kind of went as most people expected. I think I see a good amount of people at the Broncos definitely could have won this game, but I mean, even if people had the Broncos, I think most people expected the game to be a low scoring defensive game like it was. So I don't think really too much more to say on this game. Chargers were up big, definitely deserved to win. Broncos ended up making a late push, but just not enough there. That'll be interesting, them and the Saints, though. I'm not sure who the Chargers play this week. Let's see. The Cardinals in the second Monday night. Oh, God, I hate when they do 2 Monday night games. That'll be an interesting game. Chargers should win, but that'll be interesting. This will be a really good game, though. Steelers Raiders. Did not expect the Steelers to score this many points. I thought this could be a trap game for them, and it looked like that early. The Raiders are up 7-3. They went right down the field, scored a touchdown their opening drive, and they were leading most of the second half. And then I think they were up 7-6. Then the Steelers got a touchdown, 4th-and-1 on a field scramble. Went for 2, didn't get it. So they were only up 12-7 at halftime. And then the second half, the Steelers kind of just pulled away. The Raiders got screwed over a bit by the refs. There was a touchdown right as the third quarter expired that got called back for an illegal man downfield that was very questionable. And then the next play, they get a touchdown with Ameer Abdullah. And it was Abdullah, right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was there. Yeah, it was Ameer Abdullah. I'm just trying to think here. It was Abdullah, and he was in the end zone, and they called it short, and the Raiders ran hurry up offense, and they fumbled it. So the Raiders oh God, that's definitely a big missed opportunity there. They kind of had a BS roughing the passer call on Fields. I think that was the Steelers' touchdown drive in the second quarter. Aiden O'Connell, I actually don't think played too horrible. He did have a bad pick, but it was kind of just desperation mode, I guess. Not much in the run game. Their run game was going early. It looked like a little bit, but not much from the run game. Raiders can't run the ball all year. That's not too surprising. Brock Bowers had a pretty good game. Fields had a good game. Well, maybe not just statistically, but it looks like he's getting benched for Russell Wilson, which, I mean, he just put up 32 points and is 4-2, so that's a little surprising. Pickens played good. Najee Harris had a really good game. Fields, yeah, pretty good rushing day, but Najee Harris, really good game. Broke off a lot of tackles. Looks like a lot of plays that went for only a couple of yards. Harris ended up making a lot more out of it. Looking at the stats here, was obviously passing yards 110 to 218. That the Raiders definitely won that category. They were down a lot of the game. Steelers are obviously a run first team anyway. Rushing yards, this pretty much canceled the passing yardage difference out. Yards per play, pretty much dead even. Steelers at 0.1 more yards per play. First downs, fairly even. Steelers two more. Pretty even stats here. Pretty even time of possession. The game was, I think, honestly closer than the score suggested, or suggests rather. It's just the Raiders were right there. Probably should have scored a touchdown more, allowed less points. Questionable roughing the passer call, but oh boy, just Steelers took care of business. Raiders head in the wrong direction. They just traded Adams to the Jets. Thank God it's not the Chiefs. So Raiders kind of head in the wrong direction. I think they'll be in a situation similar to the Titans, where they're a gritty team the rest of the year, probably win around 5, 6 games. But it's sad. The Raiders have a lot of talent too. They just really need an elite quarterback, and they're probably going to finish somewhere draft position wise in the probably the early teens, I imagine. So obviously the elite quarterbacks or the top prospect quarterbacks, a lot of them are probably gonna be gone by then. So that sucks for the Raiders. I don't really know any. I'm not a big college guy, so I don't really know any top prospects coming up besides a couple. But I think maybe I'm wrong, but I want to say I think that people are saying this isn't a great quarterback class anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking of something else, but yeah, Raiders just heading in the wrong direction. Good, gritty out, grinded out win for the Steelers in this game. Um, Falcons Panthers. So this game was pretty close up until the fourth quarter. The Falcons ended up taking it away. Panthers were up 7-0. I'm pretty sure, but I remember they were up 7-0. And then the Falcons scored a touchdown in the first quarter. Both teams pretty good offensive points in the second quarter. Falcons were up at halftime. It was a 8-point game, I think, in the fourth quarter. Panthers were driving down the field, and Dalton threw a pick, and Falcons ended up just taking it away from there. Kirk Cousins had another pretty good game. I expected less passing than him, obviously, than the Tampa game. Obviously, that's not like bold or anything, but Tampa game, he threw almost 60 passes, I think. And obviously, they were well, they weren't really down big, but I don't know, they just were going off passing that game, I guess. Pass game was really clicking, and especially late in the game, they obviously did go pass heavy. Very limited time left, they had to score. But I expected the Falcons to really get the run game going, at least attempt it, and they did. Algier had a really good game. Robinson got in the end zone twice, I think. Yeah, 2 touchdowns for Bijan. Yeah, a lot of carries to the Falcons running backs. Pretty balanced game here. Yeah, they had 33 carries and 30 pass attempts. So obviously more rushes than passes. That's a pretty good winning formula if you can end up holding on. Falcons defense played fairly well, not exceptional, but Panthers 335 offense. They were able to move the ball through portions of this game. Dalton had a nice touchdown the end of the first half. And they also were down, they were pinned like really deep in the territory. I want to say they were on the 10-yard line. They ended up getting a touchdown, very limited time left. Dalton checked it down. They 20 seconds that they were out of timeouts. He ran up to the line and threw a touchdown to Xavier Legette or Legate, Legette, I think, however the hell he pronounces his name. But yeah, pretty. I enjoyed this game. It was kind of fairly close. Falcons ended up pulling away. I was pretty confident with them. A little nervous because it was back and forth early on. Panthers are bad, but they could pull off a win like this. They're kind of a sneaky team if Andy Dalton is playing good. Their defense is just horrible. The Panthers they took away from their defense to add to their offense to help Bryce Young, and obviously that did not work out. Bryce Young's on the bench. No one knows what's next for him. Falcons offense has been getting it going. They're just going to get better as the year goes on. I think them and the Bucks, as I mentioned earlier, talking about the Bucks game, the Saints. I think Falcons and the Bucks are going to be battling for the division all year. That'll be interesting. Falcons obviously got a big win against them Thursday game 2 weeks ago, so that's going to help. So the Bucks kind of going to win the next game they play in Tampa when they play. Well, don't have to, but obviously that would help. Pretty even time possession, almost 50-50 exactly. 10 for 74 penalties, not great for the Panthers, not too bad for the Falcons. Falcons definitely outplayed them, though, I think. I didn't really have any doubt the Falcons going to lose this game, especially they pulled away in the second quarter a little bit. From that point on, I felt pretty good they were going to win the game. Didn't really worry too much. But yeah, and then Mark Sanchez right at the end of the game was talking about how I think Bryce Young is going to help to learn from a veteran like Andy Dalton. And as soon as he says that, Dalton throws a pick. Would have been a pick six, but Falcons, I forget who the DB was, and he ended up just sliding down so they can kneel the clock out, which is a smart play. Otherwise, they would have put up 45, assuming Koo makes the extra point. But good win for the Falcons, not to fall into a trap game like this. They're just looking better. Panthers, obviously, not much expectations to them, so it is what it is to them, I guess. Oh boy, Lions, Cowboys. So I expected the Lions to win this game, and I went a little bit bold and said I expected them to win by more than one score. And well, they certainly did that. I did not expect the game to be this much of a blowout. They lost by 38 points. The Cowboys is the worst loss in the Jerry Jones era, I think. Jesus, just the Cowboys. Just I said it, the Lions win, but not by this much. Lions just got anything they wanted pretty much. It was close early. It was 7-3 at the end of the first. I think it was 10-3 at one point in the second. Cowboys offense kind of moving the ball down the field. And then the Lions in the second quarter just went off. They just could not be stopped. Montgomery went off. Goff had a really good game. Yeah, Montgomery had 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jameson Williams burned the Cowboys start the second half. He got a deep touchdown pass. Dak, 2 picks, not a very good game from him. 0 run game from the Cowboys once again. I guess 5 yards carry is good for Rico Dowdle, obviously. 5 yards carry for anyone's good, but when you're down this many points, you can't really run the ball. CD had a good game, but they were in pass-heavy mode most of it. A lot of talk on the Cowboys. Just Jerry Jones going off on media host or radio host, talking about how, the radio host said he didn't question if he did enough this offseason to make the team better. Jerry Jones went off on him, something like that. He went off on the media. He's like, "Do you think I'm an idiot?" To the reporter who asked if he's considering an in-coaching change. Mike McCarthy, I think, is definitely getting fired at the end of this year. Jesus, Cowboys. I mean, the Lions running trick plays. They threw it to one of their linemen in the end zone, and they tried a hook and ladder with one of their linemen too. I think he scored the touchdown, but it was an illegal formation or an illegal shift, something like that. I mean, yeah, Goff played good. They had Hendon Hooker. Even with Hendon Hooker in there, they had one of their linemen, I think it was Dan Skipper, line up to a pass play, and it looked like he was the main read on the play. So the Lions were just toying around with the Cowboys. They were just pissed off beyond belief about how they basically got screwed over by the refs against the Cowboys last year. Then they wanted revenge in the playoffs. Didn't happen because the Cowboys got eliminated in the wild card by the Packers, so they waited even longer. And the Lions are coming off a bye, so that obviously helped. Fresh legs, more time to prepare. I mean, obviously the yards, all the stats, just Lions outplayed them. Obviously they did. Just the score alone is just how this game went for the Cowboys. Even late in the game, Cowboys looked like they were going to maybe score, make it an teeny bit more respectable, and Cooper Rush had a bad pick in the end zone. They ended up fumbling late in the third quarter on a half-decent drive the Cowboys had. The only bad thing for the Lions this game was obviously Hutchinson's out for the year. That's an absolute massive blow for them. But it looks like the Lions are going to try to trade for some pass rush help with Hutchinson out for the year. he had a pretty good chance at winning Defensive Player of the Year too. So that really sucks for Aiden Hutchinson. But we'll take the Lions. There's a report that came out that said they're going to try to get pass rush help, but try not to completely sell their future away at the same time too. But yeah, just I mean the Lions just dominated this game. They outplayed the Cowboys in literally like everything except penalties. They just absolutely killed the Cowboys. Just got anything they wanted. We're toying with them. Just an awful loss for Dallas. Just I mean I think Dallas will probably finish around like 10-7 ish. Probably being potentially for their division just because they're the Cowboys. But just Jesus. Even without Hutchinson, I think the Lions defense that's been balling out this year is probably going to be fine. Obviously, it's going to miss hurting Hutchinson, but I think they'll be fine still. But obviously, late in the games and you play in the conference championship, the Super Bowl games, like that playoff games, obviously missing a guy like Hutchinson is probably going to hurt the Lions. But I think they'll be. I definitely think they can win the Super Bowl without Aiden Hutchinson. I predicted them to be in the Super Bowl in my preseason prediction, so at least that one's going for me. Okay, but just Jesus, Lions just dominated. Expected them to win by more than one score, but did not expect them to win by this much. Just Jesus Christ, that was just bad for Dallas. So this game did not go as I expected. This was a very low scoring game. Burrow had a big rush. It was like 3rd and 18, and he had a big scramble, ended up getting like a near 50-yard touchdown rush. And then after that, the Bengals offense, they kind of moved the ball, but fairly well, but they just stalled out. Giants would get a sack, something like that. And they ended up getting a touchdown from the 1 yard line in the third quarter, but it got overturned on a holding. It was kind of questionable. A lot of people were complaining about that, questioning it. And they ended up having to settle for a field goal. So it was 10-7. Giants had a good drive in the third quarter. They ended up scoring. Tyrone Tracy played really good in this game. Danny Dimes didn't really have a good game. Joe Burrow just straight up passing. Not the greatest game, but he did okay, good completion wise. 208, that's pretty good. Yeah, the Giants defense just been balling out the past 2 weeks, and they've kind of been sneaky all season too. Not really the week 1 or week 2, but from week 3 on, the Giants defense has been playing pretty well. Yeah, Joe Burrow is the leading rusher. A lot of it came on that one big scramble. Chase Brown had a touchdown late in the game that sealed it. T. Higgins had a good game. Jamar had an insane catch. Joe Burrow like improvised through it to him, ended up getting caught. I think it was right after the Giants' touchdown. Zach Moss had a fumble in this game that as the Bengals were mounting a pretty good drive, he had a fumble, turned it over. I think that the Giants ended up scoring off that, their touchdown. Giants had 2 missed field goals in this game. That came back to bite them. Bengals defense played probably their best game of the year, even though they allowed 309. I mean, the Giants outgained the Bengals in yards. That's actually a little bit surprising. They outgained them in passing and rush yards. I'm a little bit surprised at that. They had more first. I mean, sort of in stats, you would probably think the Giants won. But yeah, after this, it's pretty evenly. I mean, yeah, the Giants went forward and fourth down 5 times. I'm surprised they went forward and fourth down. Some of them were in their own territory too. Yeah, they went for it 4th and 2. Mike Hilton batted a pass down, and then that was when Zach Moss fumbled. Right as the Bengals looked like they were about to maybe gain control of the game. Yeah, 6 penalties for 67 yards. That's not good for the Bengals, especially in a low-scoring game like this. Yeah, Bengals defense played good. They should have allowed more than 7. Obviously, the 2 missed kicks, but they played pretty good. Obviously, the Giants were without Neighbors and Singletary, so that helps. But they looked unstoppable against the Seahawks defense, too, even without those 2 guys. But pretty good game from the Bengals defense. Good to see Joe Burrow finally catch a break. He doesn't have to put up a million points to win. Kind of got very much helped by his defense, not carry, because he did his part, but he didn't have the offense didn't have a great game, obviously. So good to see them be able to win a game where their defense plays half decent, only allows 7 points. But yeah, Bengals rush defense actually played a lot better than it has been in this game. Giants did really not have too much going in the run game. Daniel Jones, your leading rusher, your quarterback. Again, as I always say, that's usually not an ideal scenario. But yeah, uh, there was a fumble. I think it was Chase Brown had a. I want to think it was Chase Brown had a fumble late, and it looked like the Giants secured it. It looked like they were down three with like a minute and 50 left. They were gonna have a chance to tie or win the game, but it ended up getting batted out of bounds. I don't know how the hell the Giants had secured it. It looked like they had an easy fumble recovery, but Chase Brown ended up getting a touchdown, and that pretty much sealed the game right there. Giants ended up missing a kick late, two missed kicks, so that really hurt them. Not the prettiest game, but I don't mind defensive games. A lot of people were complaining about this game, saying it was boring. I understand that, but I didn't really mind it too much. Hopefully, the Bengals end up getting it going, get on a little win streak here. Joe Burrow's putting up MVP numbers, and not maybe in this game, but overall, he's like the best quarterback rating, leading the league in quarterback rating. So hopefully, the Bengals end up pulling off some wins here, get hot. I have faith in them. I think they will. Giants really sneaky team, even though they're 2-4. They play the Eagles next week. This week. That'll be a very interesting game. But yeah, I thought this is a pretty good game. Giants fans can be really frustrated that they're 2-4. They very easily could have a much better record. Okay, let me get a sip of water here. Okay, so honestly, I was kind of leaning Jets in this game. If you guys watch my week 6 picks video, I was very indecisive on this game. I went with the Bills. I was kind of leaning Jets. And I said there's two scenarios that happen. The Jets offense comes out not good, and it's like Jesus, like fire or demoting Hackett, firing Saleh that did nothing. And then they kind of picked up as the game went on. Or the Jets offense is gonna come out and play well, and it's gonna be like, oh my God, like the firing just did wonders for us. And that's kind of how it went. Jets opening drive, really good. Breece Hall dropping a pass. They had to settle for a field goal. Bills offense went right down the field and scored. Heavy run drive. And yeah, it was kind of back and forth from that point on. The Jets honestly should have won this game. They kind of beat themselves. Bass had a really bad extra point. Really bad miss on the extra point from Tyler Bass. That was a bad miss. But Greg Zuerlein missed 2 field goals, and the Jets went 1 of 4 in the red zone. And they had a couple passes, like the one to Garrett Wilson. It looked like he was going to hold it for the touchdown. He ended up dropping it. It was a tough hit, so I don't blame him for dropping it. But I mean, just looking at the stats here, fairly close, but as you can see, the Jets probably should have won this game. Just from these 4 categories, the Bills had some more rushing yards, not too much, but Jets probably should have won. First downs, Bills had more though. Third down efficiency, Bills a little bit better. One more play, so pretty much the same plays run. Oh yeah, penalties. That was the big talk. 11 for both teams. That was just bad. That was just, oh my God, so many penalties in this game. That was bad. A lot of them are kind of questionable too. Ticky tacky. Jets missed a lot of opportunities in this game. They only lost by 3. And sure, the Bills did too, but I think the Jets missed more opportunities than the Bills. They kind of beat themselves more than the Bills beat them in this game, I feel. Pretty even time possession. The pick from Rodgers was Mike Williams slipped down. It showed like he had a chance. It looked like he was open. Breece Hall was also open on a check down that may have picked up the first down. I had a Breece Hall anytime touchdown, so that really hurt. He had like 2 runs. It looked like he might have scored, especially the second one. He was one-on-one with the safety, and he ended up getting tackled short. Jets had to settle for a field goal too, so that was a big play. And I think it was the safety that stopped the third down and goal pass too. So he really saved the Jets. I mean, the Bills there. Jets defense was bad in the first half. They played much better in the second half. They only held the Bills to a field goal. I thought Rodgers was going to end up doing a game-winning drive at the end of the game there. Classic Aaron Rodgers. Jets season's back on track. Clutch, but just weren't able to convert there. That pick, then the Bills just ran out the clock. Allen scrambled. So that was it from there. Rodgers hit a Hail Mary. Bills, so they've allowed the Hail Murray in 2020 to the Cardinals. They lost. They allowed, obviously, the Hail Mary here, and then they allowed the 13 seconds left with the Chiefs in the divisional round. So that, a lot of questionable situational coaching from Sean McDermott. There was 8 seconds left, and they were playing the sidelines, which I don't blame them. But Rodgers ended up going deep and getting the Hail Mary to Allen Lazard. But the Bills, just, you got to be better in situations like that, situational football. Honestly, like, I understand why the Bills played the sidelines. I don't blame them, but I would have just played more conservative, just had more guys back for the guard and the Hail Mary. Rodgers is smart, and he took advantage of it. But yeah, the Jets offense, they had a lot of nice play action passes, some nice play designs. Todd Downey definitely looks like an upgrade over Hackett, at least this game. I don't think schematically the Jets are going to be a much different team with Downing calling the plays in comparison to Hackett. But they talked about how they wanted to, or I don't know if they talked about, but there was a report that came out that the Jets want to run a faster offense. It was a pretty good balance, I want to say, between pass and run for the Jets. Yeah, 21 total carries, 35 pass attempts. So, okay, not maybe as good of a balance as I thought, but a lot of the passing, the Jets were in like third and longs or something like that. Garrett Wilson got involved more, and they just traded for Adams too. So Garrett Wilson and Davante Adams, that could be a nasty combo with Lazard. Boy, the Jets are kind of stacked at receiver now. Jets also kind of had an iffy call on a touchdown. Braylon Allen scored, and they called a holding or an illegal formation, something like that. I think it was a holding. So that was kind of a phantom call. Rodgers himself said there was a bad roughing the passer call on him. Shouldn't have been roughing the passer. A lot of questionable penalties in this game. That was a big talking point, as I mentioned. Yeah, Josh Allen had a really good passing day, really efficient passing game. Ray Davis went off rushing. He played really good. Thought they might miss James Cook in this one, but not too much. Ray Davis, well, he also had a deep pass that Allen threw to him in the first half. That was a really nice play. Dalton Kincaid got involved. Dustin Knox also got involved. He had a touchdown. Yeah, Matt Collins had a TD. His third and goal. It was like I forget the exact route, but it was like a double move route. I think he beat his defender. Yeah, this was a really entertaining game. As I mentioned, Jets kind of beat themselves more than the Bills beat them, I feel. I mean, the Jets are 2-4, but I'm not gonna count them out yet from winning their division. It's gonna come down between these two teams. Obviously, it won't come down to my team. And the Dolphins, I don't think are good enough with all the injuries they have and Tyler Huntley for probably a majority of the season to compete for the division. Maybe they get Tua back. They obviously will be better, but I definitely think it's going to come down between these two teams. And the Jets probably should have won this game. Bills usually have like a mid-season slump. So Jets, I don't remember their schedule off the top of my head, but I want to say they have kind of one of the easier schedules in general this year. So hopefully they can pile up some wins. As bad as they played the past 3 games, their offense more so, they very easily could have won all 3 games, especially this one in the Denver game more so than the Vikings game. They definitely could have stolen the Vikings game too, or stole the Vikings game rather. But yeah, I think I covered most of my talking points to this game. Anything else? Yeah, some nice play action plays from the Jets. I did like their offense, the way it operated. Definitely their best offensive game of the year, I think. Even against us, and they put up 20, I want to say they put up 27 against us. I feel like they played better in this game. Maybe they played better statistically against us and maybe the eye test, but honestly, this game they just look really good. And this is against a pretty good Bills defense. Our defense is good too. Not this week, but maybe not so great the Niners game. But the first 2 weeks of the year, our defense is pretty good. And the Jets put up 27. They put up 20 in this game. I think this game is their best offense game of the year. Not that I remember every play from the game they played against us, I remember most games, especially my team's games, the Patriots, but I think this was probably their best offensive game of the year. Pretty good game from debut game from Todd Downing calling plays of the Jets. Okay, got all the games, I believe. Yeah, okay, got all the games. So, um, yeah, pretty good week. Yeah, I got screwed over the Bengals game. I had a parlay. Joe Burrow needed 2 touchdowns. Higgins, his yards got over. I bet the over on his yards, Bengals money line. So every same game parlay, I usually do 3 legs, and 2 of them end up hitting. And then the one that doesn't hit usually should hit, and it looks like it's going to hit, and then something just insane happens. So I've got no luck with that. I had like nothing in my account pretty much. So I only did a 3 leg parlay to be safe. I did Bucks, Ravens, and Packers. So I end up winning that parlay, and I'm down to pretty much nothing again after the Bengals and Monday night parlays I had. But at least I got one parlay to go my way. I went 4-1 in my 5 fantasy leagues too, so I had a pretty good fantasy week. I had 2 ugly wins in 2 of them. I didn't really score too much. My opponent didn't really score either, so I kind of got bailed out finally. I'm like number 1 in points allowed, my defending championship league. Team is 2-4, but put it together the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I outscored everyone in the league except my opponent, so that really sucks. I should be 3-3, but whatever. I also should have lost 3 weeks ago. I got bailed out, my opponent with injuries and stuff. So, whatever. But pretty good week of football. Did good in fantasy. Almost a perfect pick week outside of this game, Colts Titans. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll wrap it up here. Hope you guys enjoyed week of football. You did pretty good in fantasy betting and all that stuff, as I always say. I am going to try to make my week 7 predictions video probably Saturday. I had a pretty slam. I always have a slam schedule, but especially this week, I'm even more slammed than normal. I'll try to get my Drake May film breakdown video out if I have time. I'll try to make time. Hopefully, we'll see though. Try to get that video out. But I'll wrap this video up here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in, and take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching.